Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Committee of Adjustment. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please, for a resolution to convene as a Committee of Adjustment for April the 10th, 2024 hearing. Moved by Greg, seconded by Len. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby convenes at 4 p.m. sharp on Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024. All in favor? And carried. The Committee of Adjustment hereby convenes as a public meeting as per the Planning Act. Applicants and the public can speak at the public meeting. When asked who wishes to speak to an application, please raise your hand, state your name and address, and direct all comments through me. Notice of decisions will be sent to applicants and to the public if requested. Only the prescribed persons as per the Planning Act may appeal a decision or condition of approval within 20 days after the decision. I require a mover and seconder, please, for a resolution to accept the agenda for today's meeting. Lee moves, Greg seconds. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby approves the agenda for the April 10th, 2024 hearing. All in favor? And carried. And once more, I require a mover and seconder for a resolution to accept the minutes of the previous meeting of the committee. Moved by Lee, seconded by Greg. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby accepts as read and circulated the minutes of its last hearing that took place on Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. All in favor? And carried. I now ask the Committee of Adjustment for disclosure of any pecuniary interests with respect to today's applications. Anything anyone has to declare? None heard. Then we will move on to applications. So if the Secretary Treasurer could please introduce our first application.
Thank you. The purpose of minor variance application A-2024-006C Schroeder is to demolish the existing non-compliant cottage with an attached deck and to construct a new cottage with an attached deck on the subject lands. A variance has been requested for a reduction to the front yard setback for a cottage and an increase to the projection into the front yard for an attached deck. No formal correspondence has been received.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I see we have Mr. Hess. Would you like to address the committee?
Sure. Yeah, I think that myself, I don't know, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I just want to be available for any questions with the committee, basically. And I believe the property owner is also here as well, if there's any questions at all.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, Mr. Schroeder, if you have anything ahead of time, otherwise we'll address questions to you if they come.
Yeah, no, I was just making myself available should any questions come up.
Okay, thank you, sir. Then I will go to the committee. Any comments, questions from the committee on this application? Okay, last call for committee. Okay, very good. Then I will ask for a mover and seconder for a resolution to bring this application to vote. I have Lee moving and Wibb seconding. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2024-0006-C Schroeder to demolish the existing non-compliant cottage with an attached deck and to construct a new cottage with an attached deck having a shoreline width of 11.9 meters on the subject lands. The following variances to zoning bylaw 2006-125 are being requested. Bylaw section 6.3, table 6.2, minimum front yard setback for a cottage permitted is 20 meters. Proposed is 10 meters, and a note that the existing cottage is 10 meters. So the variance requested is 10 meters. Section 4.21, table 4.2, maximum projection from required front yard for the deck, 1.8 meters is permitted. Proposed is 8.2 meters for a variance of 6.4 meters. Subject to the following conditions, the extent of the variance will generally conform to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application, and that the owners apply for and obtain the required demolition permits and a building permit for the new cottage attached deck within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor? And carried.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, folks. I will now ask the Secretary Treasurer to introduce the next application.
The purpose of minor variance application A-2024-0007 Arnold is to permit an extension to the existing dock on the subject lands. The applicants are requesting an increase in maximum dock projection. No formal correspondence was received.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We have someone in attendance. George, anything to say to your application? I believe you're muted, sir. If you could just unmute your microphone. There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, I'm just here to be available to answer any questions or concerns that may be raised.
Okay, very good. Then I will turn it over to committee for questions and comments. Question from Lee. Go ahead, please.
Just your microphone. Lee, sorry.
I took the high-tech measuring device off the end of that's a permanent structure, the first piece of the dock, correct?
Correct.
And then you've added on a floating section.
Yes, that was subject to a variance application of a couple of years ago.
I got 2 feet of water off the end of the first section, and that was high water because it was hitting the bottom of the dock. I'm sure you did.
The first section of the floating dock?
That's correct. That was in the water the day I went there.
Right. Well,
and I got 30 inches off the end of the second dock. Are you going to have enough off the end of the new dock?
Yeah. There's sort of the conversation we had going through the first time. We're trying to, we're not trying to do this by, sort of incrementally, but at the same time, what is happening right now is that yes, we do get some depth gain, and it minimizes the amount of bottom disturbance that we've been experiencing. So if this were to be granted, then the stern of the boat would have minimal impact on the bottom. Right now, that last sort of 40 feet that we come into the existing dock really stirs the bottom up and ends up silting the bay for, half an hour sort of thing after coming and leaving. So what my belief is that this will now get the stern of the boat out far enough that we have very little, if any, impact on the bottom of the lake. And I'm not a fan of dredging or doing anything like that. So that's been the sort of objective here.
Do you intend to bring that new section of dock in the winter, or do you put a circulating device on it?
No, the design of this dock is a NI dock, and or will be a NI dock like the other section, And with the round pontoons, they just advised that we loosen off the rope attachment points to allow it a bit of flexibility, and then it's quite comfortable to move up and down with the ice. They do recommend that you detach from the hinge connection from the other section to allow it to move a little bit. It could be moved in. It's not, it wouldn't be that onerous, but we really don't have any. If there's any sled traffic or anything in that bay, it tends to go straight down the middle towards the launch
Yeah,
ramp.
that was going to be
my.
that was going to be
Yeah.
my next question, was sled traffic. I see
Yeah.
there's a recommendation to mark the end of it.
Yes. Yes. So
And
we're
that
more
will
than
be
happy
done?
to do that.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
'Cause-
Sorry, I was just going to say the other thing that staff sort of acknowledged as well was that we are in sort of the, if you will, the shadow or the lee of the point property next door, the Aiders. So any of the boat traffic that comes or goes definitely has to be well outside of the footprint of this dock, even as extended. Otherwise, you would be, within a second or two, you would be into their point and boathouse. So just naturally, there is a built-in buffer.
Well, my concern was with the sled traffic in the winter, and if you say there's not much of it going down there, I can
Well,
see it's
if
on a,
there, no, it's a good point. If there is, it's still well out into the middle of the bay because everybody's directing their travel towards the sort of public ramp on the Crown land right at the base of Sealy Bay Road and Jean Marie. And other than that, no, we've never had any. Thankfully, we've never had any traffic come up because ours would be very easy lot to sort of travel over, and it doesn't seem to be a problem.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Any other questions? Len, go ahead, please. You're muted, Len, just so you know. Len, please take your microphone off mute.
Says on mute. Hello?
Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
I'm just wondering, in the wintertime, although you don't expect a lot of traffic, what kind of signal could you put up so that sledders would know, like something on like a flag or something, or?
Well, we could do what I guess a lot of the people do, that bubble. Like, quite frankly, in the wintertime with the reduction of the lake level, I don't think it would even be possible to bubble there. But we could put a light up at the end of it to show that it's there. It's not coming out any further than any of the other docks that are further down the shore. And again, looking at the aerial, that the point that the Aider property and boathouse and dock is on really acts as a buffer zone, because if you were to if you'd really, in order to miss that, you're still, I would think, a good 30 or 40 meters off of the end of where our dock would end.
Thank you. I'm concerned about that because we did have an accident in our bay here a few years ago,
Okay.
and a young fellow hit the dock.
Well, I'm more than happy if the committee wants to make it a condition or whatever, that we could always run a light like the bubbler people do out to the end of the dock and mount it there during the winter. I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Len. So that issue will be addressed in the resolution if it goes forward. Anything else from the committee? Yes, go ahead, Brady.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. We already have a condition in there to have navigation markers, so
Oh, good.
that would include anything for winter travel, like a flag or navigation lights to that effect.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from committee or applicant?
Fine,
All
thank you.
right, then I will ask, sorry, Glenn?
No, I don't.
No,
didn't know my
okay.
hand.
Then I will ask for a mover and seconder, please, to bring this application forward for vote. I have Lee and Greg. So moved by Lee, seconded by Greg, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A 2024-0007 H for Arnold to permit an extension to the existing dock on the subject lands. The applicants have requested a variance to the following section of the zoning bylaw 2006-125 to permit the proposed extension. Bylaw section 4.28.2D, maximum length of a dock extending into a water body. Permitted is 15 meters, existing is 28 meters. Proposed is 41 meters, which is a variance of 26 meters. 13 meters longer than what is existing. Subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the owner applies for and obtains a building permit for the dock extension within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. That the extent of the variance will be limited to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application. Number three, the variance for the extension of the dock be permitted for a floating dock only. And number four, that the dock receives Transport Canada approval if applicable or has navigation markers. All in favor? And carried.
Thank you.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
Thank you very much.
All right, then we are on to third application, Madam Secretary, if you could introduce that, please.
The purpose of minor variance application A-2024-0008 Brewer is to construct a dwelling addition and a detached garage, requesting a variance for maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline. No formal correspondence has been received.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in attendance for this application? I see, is it Victoria? Sorry, the screen's a little small. No,
It's Lauren
It's Lauren,
Arsenault.
sorry, okay.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you. My name is Lauren Arsenault. I'm planner with Morgan Planning and Development, and I'm available to answer any questions you have after the presentation. Thank you to staff for their summary. I'm just going to share my screen. Hey, can everybody see that?
Yes, we have you.
Great, thank you. Morgan Planning and Development has prepared a planning justification report on behalf of the owners of subject property 11 Maplehurst Road, and they are requesting the redevelopment of the subject property with additions to an existing dwelling and a new detached garage. The subject property is located on the north shore of Lake Rosso within Cameron Bay, approximately 1.5 meters southwest from the settlement area of Rosso. And the subject property has approximately 9,000 square meters or 0.9 hectares total lot area and 125 meters of frontage onto Lake Rosso. The property is currently developed with a single detached dwelling, attached deck, boathouse, and attached dock, and is privately serviced. The property is zoned shoreline residential 1, and there's a small pocket of EP zoning along a portion of the southern shoreline. The application seeks to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject property with additions to the existing dwelling and adding a new detached garage, seeking relief from the maximum lot coverage within 60 meters from the shoreline. And we are proposing 6.8% lot coverage, whereas 6% is permitted. So here's a look at the site plan. If you can see my cursor, the proposed garage is located here, and they'll be extending the driveway, and it will go at the end of the driveway. The construction of the 960 square foot detached garage is located well behind the existing dwelling and over 50 meters from the water's edge. The proposed additions are here is the larger addition on the dwelling, and over on this side as well. A portion of the existing dwelling does fall within the required 20-meter setback from the water's edge. However, the additions are located well behind that 20-meter setback, which you can see is indicated in pink here.
Nice.
Here's a look at the floor plan. The proposed additions will add over 1,000 square feet of additional living space. The one-story addition to the north will add an additional washroom, living room, and screened Muskoka room. The addition to the south will add another washroom and mudroom, and that's totaling 161 square feet. The client has indicated that a new septic will be installed to service the additional living space, and there is sufficient space to accommodate that on the property. Here's a look at the zoning matrix outlining the specific provisions that this application is seeking relief from and how the proposed structures will otherwise comply. So as you can see here, everything complies with the exception of the maximum lot coverage within the 60 meters of the shoreline. Here's a look at the elevation drawings for the detached garage. A thorough design process has been undertaken by the owner and their design team to ensure the resulting built form complies with the zoning requirements. The original garage design has been revised to modify the roof and dormer design to comply with zoning requirements. Here's a look at the elevation drawings for the existing cottage and the proposed additions. The natural character of the property will be maintained as the design features sloping roof lines, natural colors and materials similar to what is currently existing. So here's a site photo of the front of the dwelling facing the waterfront. And you can see there is some existing mature vegetation in front, which will be maintained and buffer the proposed addition. So the larger portion of the addition is going to be located in this general area. If you can see my cursor. Further, staff has recommended as a condition of approval that the property owner enter into a development agreement to protect the existing vegetation and implement additional plantings where possible. So here's another look at the elevation rendering from the water, and I just want to flip back and forth to give committee a better idea of where that addition will be located. So this is the existing roof line and chimney. And then if we go back, that's the existing roof line and chimney, and the addition will come out over here. And just to further illustrate the location of the proposed structures, we prepared this sketch. So you can see the proposed driveway extension here in red and the detached garage in blue with proposed additions in this lime green here. So that's the larger addition and the smaller addition over here. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of vegetation buffering certainly the detached garage, but also the additions from the waterfront. In formulating the planning rationale for the minor variance application, Morgan Planning and Development considered the 4 tests which are outlined in their accompanying planning justification report. Morgan Planning and Development is of the opinion that the proposed development is minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development of the subject property, and meets the general intent and purpose of the township zoning bylaw and official plan. And I'm available to answer any questions you may have regarding the proposed variance. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we would respectfully request the committee approve the application and conditions as outlined in staff's report.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. Very good presentation. Any comments, questions from committee? Yes, go ahead, please, Lee.
Lauren, you've attended our meetings before, and I've got your application for the variance Very simply, why was nothing staked? I had to use a hydro pole and a boathouse to try and figure out where things were. As per the application, page
Mhm.
3 says that it will be staked. And I spent a lot more time than normal trying to figure out where buildings were. I used the fireplace in the house to try
Yeah.
and figure out where that portion of the renovation was going. It was very difficult, very difficult.
Apologies to committee. This is our first application that required staking. But I know that typically this is something that a committee would request. The the owner does not have a contractor retained for the project yet. And the owner is seasonal, and unfortunately they were not able to get to the property in time for this meeting. However, we did prepare that aerial sketch, and that was intended to show where the development will be located and give a better idea of what vegetation would be impacted.
Okay, I have to echo that comment. It
Me too.
is a lot easier to, I mean, it was, it's a fairly open property, so you can kind of see, but certainly it leaves a lot of doubt exactly where things are going to be. Committee, other comments?
No, I agree with Lee's comments. It was the last one that I saw on the day, and I thought I was never going to get home, trying to stumble around looking at where things were going to be. So I think it's a good point. The presentation was excellent. It sure added a lot to my perception of what was going to happen. I was dreaming a lot of it.
Lauren, I have a question from the Lakeview drawing and pictures that you showed. I guess it would be the north addition beside the existing house. When you look from the lake, there was what looked to be, pretty solid vegetation cover that you would actually not see that if it's left as is. Are you planning to leave that vegetation from the lakeside or take it away?
Thank you, Chair. They would be maintaining as much vegetation as possible at the front of the property. So I can just share my screen again. So if we're looking at this plan again, so this area here is quite rocky and there's not a lot growing here. There are a few trees, as you saw in that image. You could probably flip back to it here for you. Here, there's a few.
Right. So,
and of course, these will be maintained. Yes.
So on the, I guess it would be the right side of the building, looking from the lake right now, there's, shrub cover basically where.
Yes.
Will that stay?
So a little bit of vegetation will need to be removed here. As you can see, it's like mostly smaller shrubs.
Yeah, I'm thinking more not right on the building site, but actually in front of it when you're looking from the lake. It just, the way it looks right now is you wouldn't see much of the addition from the lake if that, vegetation along closer to the shore, between the building and the shore, or the building site and the shore is left. So that's, right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, this area is a bit open, so you'll likely see it a bit from the water.
You'll see it a bit, yeah, but you're not planning to remove that bunch of vegetation right there.
No, and staff is recommending a revegetation plan as well. And they'll have to enter into a development agreement to implement that. And I think, there's opportunity there to protect the existing vegetation through that agreement.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from committee? Okay, nothing heard. Then I will ask for a mover and seconder, please, to bring this resolution forward. Moved by Greg, seconded by Len. So again, moved by Greg, seconded by Len, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approve variance application A-2024-0008-H for Brewer for a dwelling addition and a detached garage, requesting a variance to the following section of zoning bylaw 2006-125. Bylaw section 6.2, table 6.3, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline permitted is 6%. Proposed is 6.8% for a variance of 0.8%. The extent of the variance, so these are the conditions, the extent of the variance will generally conform to that shown on the sketch plan submitted in the application. Number 2, that the owner applies for and obtains the required building permit for the cottage additions and attached garage within 3 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. And number 3, that the owner enters into an agreement with the municipality pursuant to section 45, subsection 9.1 of the Planning Act to be registered on title, which includes provisions such as the submittance of a revegetation plan prepared by a qualified professional to be approved by the Director of Planning. All in favor? And carried.
Thank you very much, committee.
The application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days notifying you of the decision, and the 20-day appeal period starts now.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. So that's it for regular applications. We do have one item of other business to start with, which is a condition extension request. If you could just give us some information on that.
This was an application from 2022 that received committee's approval. A condition of the approval required the applicants to obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of the decision. The applicant has requested a 6-month extension to prepare and submit the formal building plans for approval.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, mover and seconder, please. Moved by Lee, seconded by Greg. Whereas the Committee of Adjustment approved variance application A-2022-0019-C for 2033422 Ontario Incorporated on May 11th, 2022, subject to the following condition: that the owner applies for and obtains a building permit within 2 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. And whereas the applicant has requested an extension to the above conditions in order to prepare and submit the formal building plans, therefore the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby grants an extension to the above condition to be fulfilled no later than November 11th, 2024. All in favor? And carried. Any other business from anyone? No, okay. Then we are on to adjournment. If I could have a mover and seconder to adjourn. Moved by Greg, seconded by Lee. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this hearing at 4:33 p.m. On Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, the committee will hold its next meeting at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, May the 8th, 2024, or at the call of the chair, unless the Secretary Treasurer has not received complete applications for committee consideration. All in favor? And carried. Thanks, everyone.